Hello, online crew. How is everybody today? We're talking about the algorithm. So those of you that were with me yesterday, we are continuing the conversation on today regarding the Facebook algorithm and trying to understand it. And I'm going to give you some information on today's live just regarding some things that you should know. Some of these things you might already know. Some of these things you might not. So we're carrying the conversation on from what we talked about yesterday regarding some questions regarding the algorithm and whether they were true or not. I'm going to give you some things that you should know regarding the algorithm today in today's video. And I'm also going to continue this conversation on again next week. So make sure you show up next week. So how's everyone going? I hope you're doing really well. If we have not met before, my name is Helen Martin. I'm your online crew captain at absolute service to our amazing community here of home-based business owners, entrepreneurs, direct sellers, network marketers, those in MLM, etc., all of the above. And we are learning to leverage social media and use modern social media strategies to attract people to us. So our goal here is to really create a presence and raise our influence on social media and use the tools that are available to us and do certain things and use certain strategies to attract people to you. So you don't have to chase anybody in your business. People are literally asking you what it is that you have. So we talk a lot about social media. We talk mainly about Facebook, and I do share things regarding the algorithm because it's important for you to know. Keep in mind, like I said yesterday, and if you didn't watch yesterday's videos, you can just go back down the news feed and find that. The algorithm won't save you if you don't have a brand, if you don't have really good content, if you're not showing up consistently. You can't just disappear for 3 weeks, come back to Facebook, think you know everything about the algorithm and you're good to go. Like the algorithm is not going to help you or solve your problems unless you've got foundational pieces in place, like a brand, really good content, leading with value, all those kind of things. So when we talk about the algorithm, you've got to take that in consideration with everything else that you're doing. Although there are things with the algorithm that can give you an advantage. So when you've got all the other foundational pieces in place and you know little bits and pieces about the algorithm, you can use them to your advantage about when you post, what kind of things that you post. So it is really good information to know. Okay, so let's have a look who's here. We'll say a few hellos before we get into the content. Just a reminder, we finished day 3 of the What's Working Now bootcamp, which 2 of the 3 days that we did for that bootcamp, we solely concentrated on Facebook stories. How much fun did we have playing with apps, new apps, things that you didn't know before, guys? Those of you that are in my coaching community and that were in that training for the last 3 days, give us some feedback and let the others know how that was, because you can still watch all the replays. In fact, you can get the replays of all my bootcamps I've ever created still at the moment. There is a link up above that you can get access to that and watch all the replays as if you were there sort of with us, although it's more fun when you're there live, but everything is recorded. The other thing to keep note is the next video challenge, free 14-day video challenge, is starting in less than 7 days. We're starting next week on the 25th of June. I put a video in there yesterday, video number 4. So make sure you watch all the videos for those of you that are in there, but it's a free video challenge. I give you the technical videos to get you going, and I give you all the content to talk about. So what have you got to lose? So if you want to join us, that link is also up above. And you just got to request to join the group, and all the information is in the videos in the group. Okay. If you've got any questions, let us know so we can, answer those for you. And hello to those of you watching on my business page, and hello to those of you that are watching in my group. I broadcast in 2 different places. So those of you that are on my business page, it's public. I can see who you are. Those of you that are in my group, if you're new to the group, you may need to click on the StreamYard link, which is the very bottom link in the description above, for me to see who you are, because you are actually in a group. So if anyone says hello and I can't see your name, then that's all you need to do. So let's see who's here. Good morning, Patricia. It's morning in her part of the world. It is pouring with rain. It's grey clouds, foggy rain. I can't see the town. Are you the same, Patricia, in the city, or is it a bit better where you are? Hello, Gloria, life member. Gloria did some amazing stories in the last 3 days. Gloria is so creative. We just loved your stuff, Gloria. It was good to have fun with you the last few days. Hello, Lynn. How are you? Coaching crew member. Great to see you here. Good morning, Faye. Oh, Cynthia. Under 2 hours, I'm going to the dentist. So just under 2 hours, I'm going to the dentist. I'm not sure what he's going to do to me. My jaw is throbbing now. I'm continually on painkillers. So I'm pretty sure he's going to tell me they're going to have to rip it out. It's back here, one of the big ones. So I'll let you guys know. I'll put some photos up regarding what happened. But in 2 hours' time, I'm going to deal with this pain in my face. So yes, Cynthia, you won't put up with me. You won't have to put up with me next week going, oh, my pain. Anyway, good morning, Jacinta. How are you? Hello, Monica. Not yet, Monica, but we're on it. We're on it. We're going to resolve this today. Today, Ray, thank you for your concern, guys. You guys are awesome. Hello, Adita. How are you? How are you feeling? Are you okay? Hello, Olive. Wonderful life member and very handy to me and my communities. Olive is. I hope you're having an awesome weekend. I will do when I deal with this tooth, I tell you. Hello, Steph. How are you? Oops, where did you all go? Lani, you're back. Watching from cloudy Brisbane. Good morning. Lovely to see you here, Lani. Hey, Tasha from the UK. What are you doing awake? Shouldn't you be? You should be asleep by now. From Clarita Delimerigan at the Body Shop at home. Beautiful. Lovely to see you here, Tasha. Hey, Lynn Ford. The more I learn, the more I know there is. I thought I got a lot done during my 12 weeks off. Now I'm not so sure. That's the thing with social media in the online world, though, Ford, isn't it? You can never stop learning. And that's a catch, guys, because that's when we get into overwhelm, because there's so many cool things to learn. There's so many creative things to learn. And you can spend hours on something like Facebook stories, and it's just amazing. So it can be a good time waster, but there is just so much to learn. So we've got to balance. I have to constantly balance building all my businesses and learning. Because, the more I learn, I just turn around and give it to you guys for, particularly in my coaching community, next to nothing, really. It's just such a small investment to share with you everything I learn. But it is a balancing act, I will agree for. Hey Mel, life member, how are you? Loved the boot camp, thanks. Heaps of fun. I've created more fun stories with 3D Bitmoji. Awesome, Olive. That's awesome. Great boot camp, just finishing them up. The day 3, cool. New apps downloaded and playing with them. Awesome. Style looking like rain, so the rain's coming your way. Hey Gagan, how are you? From Tassie, raining here too. Today is the day. You'll be pain-free. Yes. Glad you're finally going to the dentist. This is the first time I could get in. It was the first thing that they could offer me. I'm not a big fan of dentists, though. Oh, you can't sleep, Tasha. Hey, Laurie, how are you? Who is there anyone on the planet that would ever say, I love going to the dentist? Is there anyone that exists that would say that? I don't think so. So, the needles, they're probably going to have to numb me to, I'll let you know. Anyway, let's get on to the content for today. So I'm going to go through some tips, and remember, I will be continuing this conversation on next week because you can't cover everything you need to know just in a couple of videos regarding the algorithm. And some of this may seem basic, but this is the kind of stuff that will give you an advantage once you've got your brand, your content, and all those kind of things sorted out as well. We know how important that is. But don't overlook this kind of stuff, because when you put a post out on Facebook, you have no control. You are literally relying on Facebook to send it out to people. Now, if it's crap content, if it's just coming from selfish reasons, you're one of those people that goes, oh, I know I should post every day, and you just post stuff out there, or you schedule stuff in advance and it's like, oh, just throw some stuff out there because you should have some stuff out there. That's not going to help you very much. Having content and being consistent will help you. It's better to have content rather than not have content, but obviously more meaningful content is going to help you, a hell of a lot more. So I'm going to go through some things that just try and store some of this information, okay? So the ultimate algorithm hack, I'll give you one word, okay? So this is, algorithm, you probably think computerized. Send it out, we're relying on triggers from the algorithm, which we are, but it really comes down to more human thought than you realize. So the biggest algorithm hack on social media is being thoughtful. Okay, thoughtful posting, thoughtful intention, thoughtful communication, thoughtful interactions, thoughtful questions. Being thoughtful is the biggest algorithm hack, really. Okay, so store that. What Facebook calls that in its language is affinity, the word affinity. Okay, affinity. So it's about being thoughtful and building relationships. And relationships in the algorithm is called affinity. That's what they call it in their signals, their triggers. It's affinity. So affinity equals the closeness of your relationship with people. So how often do you interact? Do they interact at all? Are people just looking, but they're not interacting? They're not even liking anything. They're just sitting back in the wings. And we can't help that. A lot of people will do that. But if people are commenting, they're saying hello, they're putting in lots of characters, like over 100 characters is more meaningful to you in the algorithm than just a hello. So we're looking at the closeness of the relationship. So how we get that so I'm looking down at my notes because this is not coming from me, okay? This is documented information regarding the algorithm, okay? So the best part of affinity equals recent interaction. So it's the closeness of the relationship you have, the relationship that you have with people, but it's recent interaction. It's not interaction from a week ago. It's recent interaction. It's here and now. It's you guys on this live. It's you guys interacting with me. The most recent interaction is more powerful in relation to that affinity, the closeness of that relationship. Okay, is this making sense so far? Just let me know. So you want to create posts that encourage people to interact and engage with you. You've heard me say that over and over again. But think of the deeper reason behind this. So when people do engage and interact, that's obviously building a relationship. It's building the closeness of the relationship if it's more regular. Therefore, it's triggering this affinity in the algorithm. Okay, so important to remember. So when we do that, and when you're creating posts, trying to get people to interact with you, the biggest thing you can remember, we mentioned this, I might have actually been in the coaching community, not here, but we had a discussion around it. It's not about us. It's not about what you want from social media. It's about giving enough and sharing enough to get people to respond. So it's about what other people need. It's about solving other people's problems. It's about sharing information that's helpful. It's about asking questions that trigger something in somebody's mind to actually respond and say something. So, Facebook and posting, all social media platforms, to be honest, it's not about us. It's not about putting out those posts that you want a sale from. It's not about pushing your business out on people. That's something you want. It's not what other people want. So it's about putting out information and content and posts that you've got that thoughtfulness behind it about how might this help somebody else today, and how might I engage with my audience today and ask them a question that they might like to share an answer to. So it's at a much deeper level when you really think about how the algorithm works than what you realize. Okay, so we have to really earn the right. It's what it's all about. We need to earn the right in the algorithm to show up on people's newsfeed. So just remember that. You need to earn the right to have the algorithm work in your favor and show up in people's newsfeed. So the content that you put out, the quality of the content, whether it's engaging and people are interacting with you and having conversations with you, that's what triggers thoughtfulness and relationships and the affinity that Facebook is looking for. Okay? So the other thing to remember, now this is a continuation of something we brought up yesterday regarding if you go and communicate and interact with people just before, let's say before this live, I spent 15 minutes going and interacting and engaging with a whole lot of you, thinking that triggers the algorithm to show more content to you guys, okay? So people think that. I've promoted that before, but not for the reason that you might think. So the reason that you might go and action that and do that is a human factor of reciprocity. So if you don't know what that means, it just means you take an action and people reciprocate what you've done. So what we're relying on there is the human behavior of now you've got somebody's attention. Now they're looking back at you. Maybe you asked a question that was thoughtful and they answered and now you're on their radar. So it's not really a trigger for the algorithm as such. It's the theory of reciprocity. It's a hard word to say, reciprocity. When people reciprocate your behavior that you've been thoughtful, you're building relationships, you're asking questions, people are interacting, hopefully, by what you've done. So you get that relationship, the closeness in the relationship, and therefore the affinity. So that will help you, but not necessarily for triggering the algorithm just because you went and liked a whole lot of people's stuff. That's not going to help. It's only going to help. It's all that's going to do is get you seeing more of their stuff, because Facebook's seeing that you like their content. So they're going to maybe send you a little bit more of their content. So it's for that. So just remember that it's what we're going for, and Facebook building relationships and building this affinity is that reciprocity. Okay, so that's another important thing to remember. One of the other core functions of the algorithm is what they call weight. So it's the weighting of your posts. And depending on the weighting of your post, it will be sent out to more people. So what's meant by that, the weight, is basically the impact. Do you get that? The impact of your post. Now, how that is measured algorithm-wise, it's a cumulative thing of what's happening to your post. So you may have people that like it, love it, wow it. You might have people that comment on it, engage in it, interact in it, link, click on it. And you may have conversations building from it. So the weight of your posts, and the better the weighting, the more your post is seen out in the algorithm, is a cumulative effect of all those things. So again, it comes back to the thoughtfulness of what you've put out there, that people do want to like it, love it, wow it, comment on it, engage with it, interact with it, answer a question of yours, those kind of things. So we're coming back to a deeper meaning of what are you posting. Now go back to your newsfeed, wherever you're hanging out, whether that's your personal profile, business page, or a bit of both, and have a look at some of your posts and go, does this encourage me to interact with it? Is this something that's positive and inspirational and I might just like it? Although like is a very small weighting. So the greater the weight is the cumulative effect of, likes, loves and stuff. They don't have a lot of weighting, but if somebody's commented it, if people have shared it, that's an amazing factor to go towards your weighting. If people are sharing your content, huge factor for your weighting, because people are liking your comment enough to share it. So that's what the weighting means. So again, just go back to basics, look at your content and go, am I just going through the motions? Am I just posting because I know I should post every day and I need to be consistent? Or I'm actually putting content out there that's really actually quite thoughtful and meaningful. So would you comment on your own posts? Is there anything to comment on? Is there a question of any sort, or something that's triggered a thought process for somebody to meaningfully interact or engage? So it's a good thing to go back and look at your own posts and just sort of evaluate with new eyes. Would I comment on my own stuff? Would I interact in my own stuff? Okay. Weight or weight. So weight as in the weighting of a post, the meaningfulness of the post, the impact of the post. Okay. A word you've never heard of. So which word was that? Now I'm going to force you to spell it. Okay, Jacinta. What about when people post a picture in the comments and no words? Does that give it more weight? No, it doesn't. It's an interaction. So remember what I just said, it's a cumulative effect. So if somebody's doing something, it'll add to the weighting of it. But it's not words. It's not a conversation. It's not comments. So something is better than nothing, but it's not really going to add very much because you're not having a conversation. So it's not the best form of interaction, but it is an interaction. Does that make sense? So something is better than nothing, but that doesn't really hold much weight because you're not having a conversation. No words are used. It's just an image. Okay. All right. Oh, thanks, Mel. So it's the weighting, but just think of it as the impact of the post, which makes sense when you think about that in reality. The impact of a post, if it's got a big impact and people are engaging with it, interacting with it, leaving comments, then Facebook is going to be, encouraged to send it out to more people through those triggers in the algorithm. Okay. So definitely, again, think about the purpose of the post. Would you like on it? Would you like it, love it, wow it, comment on it? So just thinking at a deeper level, okay? But know that all engagement is not equal. So when we say posts are weighted by a cumulative effect of signals like loves, wows, comments, shares, for example, they are not all equal to get, a better weighting score. So from that, you would probably already know that a like really doesn't mean much. So again, it's better than nothing, but it doesn't hold a lot of weight. Like somebody leaving an image back, it's an interaction, but it's not words, so it doesn't hold a lot of weight. So just know that obviously all engagement is not equal. And we're always, when you're posting, you're driving for the conversation. You're driving for somebody to leave some words and have a conversation. And there will be even heavier weighting when there's back and forth. So you're actually interacting. So the biggest thing to remember with that is when somebody leaves a comment, depending what they've left and whether you can bring a question back into it, is to try to turn that into a conversation and ask a question so they can respond. And when you're engaging and interacting, it's triggers every single time because you're having a conversation, you're engaging with somebody, you're building a relationship. So that's where you're going to get most out of the algorithm in whatever it is that you do on social media is you're going for those initial interactions are good, but not all engagement. So that is an engagement because they've done something, but not all engagements are equal because a comment and a conversation is going to have much more weighting than obviously just a like. So consider these types of posts. I'm going to give you a bit of a summary of how things are generally sort of weighted. So just a text post, according to Facebook, just text posts don't do as well. It doesn't mean they can't, but just text and text only doesn't do as well as other forms of post. Okay. So text with a photo or an image, like just an image in itself, or text with an image, generally gets 50% more likes. So you're getting more engagement and interaction and 100% more comments, supposedly, than just text. So I'm not saying that just text, like just writing, doesn't work, but people are very visual. So if you can put like, even a Bitmoji or a picture of yourself, just don't use stock images. Stock images are seen as something that's quite commercial, and they're not considered what we call native to the newsfeed. So when we say native to the newsfeed, think of personal profile and just using it for personal social reasons. So if something looks native to the newsfeed, that's what we sort of mean. So stock images and, professional images, the level of, not necessarily skepticism, but it just doesn't have the same feeling and connection that something native to the newsfeed does. Okay, so photos are better. So this is kind of in order: text, then photo, then obviously video. So more than 50% of Facebook users watches a video of some sort every single day. So they're weighted heavier, and obviously Facebook Live, because you get the interaction. Maybe not in the beginning, but you got to start somewhere. But when you get people that turn up regularly, you can ask people, how you're feeling, what you're doing, do you agree? Is that something you've experienced before? You can actually ask for interaction from people that are watching. And even if there's no one there live, somebody might watch the replay and interact and engage from something you've asked. So don't let a zero on your live stop you asking questions, because somebody might pick it up on the replay. Okay, so that's the order of things that tend to be weighted heavier. So text, photo and text, video, sort of uploaded video, then live video. So it's going from worst to best. Okay, text, photo, video, live video. And there was a note there that generally links, external links, typically do not do well. unless you've got a larger audience that they will show up anyway, whether you've got links in your description or not. But if you are newer to, posting on social media, then external links, sending people off Facebook, will hurt you. Facebook does not want people to leave Facebook. So you will notice a lot of my lives that I do have external links in the description of my videos. But I've got 15,000 people here, and there are people that will turn up whether I've got links in my live or not. So I did an experiment, it was probably about 6 months ago, in having them, not having them, having them, not having them, and seeing whether it would hurt my reach and my engagement, stuff like that. I haven't tested it for a while. Perhaps I should. But if you want to use external links, then you definitely want to test that and evaluate it for yourself, whether you got less reach out of a video because you had an external link in it or not. But typically, especially if you're newer and you're building up your audience, that Facebook will penalize you for external links. Okay. What are you suggesting to me there? Take some ibuprofen. Already done that. About an hour before you go to the dentist. It will make a world of difference. So I just took, how many did I take? So I must have taken about 600 just before I jumped on live. So I probably won't take any more. So hopefully I've done enough. So Mel, I'm not saying all stock pics are not good, but depending on the context that you use them, just some really, when people pick up the stock pictures that have got, a whole lot of people in suits sitting around a computer, like that kind of stock image, that's much more what I'm talking about. Like you can tell that it's not a group of your friends in a room staring at a computer. Like you can just tell it's a stock photo. That's more sort of kind of what I'm talking. I'm not saying that all stock photos, because there's some beautiful stock photos, but that's the kind of thing more so that I'm sort of talking about. I've noticed that I get more interaction when posting with a photo. Yeah, people are very visual, and images tell stories in themselves. Like people can look at an image and already know kind of what it might mean, and maybe they can also tell happiness or sadness or emotion from an image. So images are very powerful. It's the same as emojis. And just a tip with emojis are good to use because they help you emphasize emotion. So you might use a smiley face and it tells people that it's a good thing. You might use the party hat one, party. It tells people, it emphasizes to people, what you mean, but don't overuse them, because that's in one of the policies of Facebook, like overuse of accentuated symbols. I'm not sure if that's the exact word, whether it's symbols, but those kind of things, like overuse of emojis and things like that, you get penalized for. So you want to use them in a way that emphasizes what it is that you're trying to say, or an emotion, but not overuse them that people get confused with them. And certainly don't use 3 or 4 of them. You only really need sort of 1 or 2, depending what it is you're trying to say. Okay. So to help the algorithm work in your favor, you absolutely want to keep the conversation going if you can. So this is building on what I was saying before. So tips around that is to keep your replies open-ended, rather than, let's say you've done a Facebook Live, you're going back to your comments, and it depends what they've said, whether there's anything that you can ask back. But you might, if there's nothing to work with, you might even say, how's your day? How are you going? Where are you watching from? Just think of some questions that you can have in your little toolbox to ask people to keep the conversation going. That will definitely help you in the algorithm and the triggers for Affinity, because you're building relationships, you're getting a closer relationship, and it's recent interaction. Okay. So I've said many, 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 many times about the 90-minute window. So most of your interaction and engagement will happen in the first 90 minutes. So this is, across the board. You may have a post that does otherwise. So when I say things like that, these people go, oh, well, I had a post that was awesome for a week. I mean, there are pieces of content that are going to go outside this window. But generally, okay, just generally, guys, you've got a 90-minute window from when you posted something or did a Facebook Live where you're going to get majority of your interaction and engagement, according to the algorithm, like what Facebook does with it in that first 90 minutes. That's really important to you. So what a goal is, and I used to be religious with this until I have now back-to-back trainings and calls with students and stuff like that, so it's not as easy anymore. But after every Facebook Live, I would go back to it and comment on as many things as I could. And, you guys that have hung around me for a while would know that. Now sometimes it takes me that night or maybe a day later or something like that, depending what I've done that day. But the quicker that you can respond to people that have engaged with you, the better as far as the algorithm goes. So that's important to remember. And I'm going to give you some tips around time frame in a minute. I'll finish off with that in a second. So another core factor is how much time has passed since your post. So something else I've been told regarding the algorithm is if you put a post up and it got nothing, like no engagement, no comments, no interaction, it would just sort of died. It has been advised to go and delete it. Like it just doesn't serve you at all, and post it in a different way, another time. So that one's up to you. But obviously newer posts are more relevant, and the more time that passes, obviously the less that posts are shown. So that's where this 90-minute window is where you're going to get more reach from the algorithm, depending what people do with it. And if you're newer to social media, don't stress about things like this, because you need to earn the right for people to engage with you. You need to earn the right to be seen more in the newsfeed, but it really comes down to your thoughtfulness in what you provide to your audience, what you're putting out to your friends and family, what you're putting out to your audience. Like the more thought that you put to that, the more rewarded you're going to be, rather than just going through the motions because you need to post something and you need to be consistent. So there's a lot of people that go, I post every day, but I get nothing. Or, I'm posting, it's an action. I'm posting every day, but I'm getting nothing. Look at the quality of what you're posting. Look at the posts with the eyes of, would I post? Would I interact with that? Would I engage with that? Is that interesting enough for me to do something with? So the more thoughtfulness that you can put behind, your post, the better off you'll be. So your posts apparently have a shelf life. So this is just a guide to think of. So the first 90 minutes, so half of your entire engagement on your Facebook post will happen within the first 90 minutes. 5 hours, about 75% in the first 5 hours. About eight hours, you're pretty much done, supposedly. Now, it depends what it is. Things can go for days. So I'm sure you've all got posts in some capacity that have hung around and kept getting good interaction for a couple of days. So take notice of those kind of things. If people are engaging constantly over a couple of days with a piece of content, that's something that you should either repurpose or try to recreate again. Because after about 8 hours, the algorithm is pretty much sort of done with you, and there might be organic reach there with somebody says something and somebody else sees it and those kind of things, but the algorithm basically will not work for you much. Okay. Now the other really strong thing I want to share with you is post at least twice a day. Now I'm talking about newsfeed. Okay, so Facebook stories, go for it. Just post as many times as you want. Remember, different algorithm, totally different. I won't say the word platform as such because they're connected, but just totally different way that it operates. But in your newsfeed, I would recommend sort of morning and night, so there's always something cycling within sort of the 12-hour period. That's the best way, like the consistency. I told you yesterday, Facebook doesn't like us, being awesome and posting heaps for, a couple of weeks and then we disappear for 3 weeks because, life got in the way. So a couple of times a day in the newsfeed. You can do more if you want, but I wouldn't do any more than 3, to be honest with you, because your own posts are going to be competing with each other in the algorithm. Okay, you want to give it the sort of the best chance to get interaction and engagement. But a couple of times a day to always have something cycling would be a good idea. And some posts will work and some posts won't. Okay, so that's something that you have to just be a little bit smarter about regarding what you're putting out there on social media. Okay. So I've got another one, but I'm going to leave that one till next week because that requires a bit of further discussion, and we are not finished here in relation to talking about the algorithm. But there's some things that you should try and store, and really if you take anything from that, take what I said at the very beginning regarding, the biggest algorithm hack that you can have is thoughtfulness. Now, be thoughtful and think of posts that are going to get interaction, engagement, even if they don't. This is a learning journey. Some of you are only just starting to build up your audience. Some of you are just learning about things called branding and leading with value and things like that. So this is not something that happens overnight, but if you've got these thoughts front of mind and you can really, think about what you're posting rather than just post for the sake of posting, which a lot of people do, you'll get rewarded for it. Okay? So was that helpful? Let me know, because I've talked long enough already. I was going to say I'm going to prepare myself for the dentist, but what's there to prepare? I've just got to get in the car and go. So I'll fill you in with photographs how that goes. Hopefully it's not too painful. I might have a nice big side of the face by the time they're finished with me. And I've got a feeling that I'm not going to get away with this with probably just one appointment. There's probably going to be some work that needs to be done, unfortunately, but we shall see. But I hope that's helpful in that discussion to just trigger some thoughts for you regarding the more intention that you have with what you post on social media and really thinking about other people and the problems that you can solve for people and being thoughtful, in a way that might trigger somebody to respond or interact with your posts, the better off you're going to be. It's not something that you're going to necessarily, change overnight or get massive interaction and engagement. But if you know how the algorithm works, and it's working really more on human behavior than you may realize. Like, the algorithm is triggered by signals. But a lot of those signals are triggered by what we do as humans, by interacting and engaging. Like, it takes the human behavior to actually trigger the signals for the algorithm. Does that make sense? So we've got to work out, how do we get people to interact and engage and comment and have conversations with us? Okay, so food for thought. Okay, all very interesting. Thank you. Okay, good, Ray. Yes, helpful. Hello, Anna. How you going? Hey, tonight. It was very helpful. Thank you. Of course. Thank you. Hope you have a better weekend with less pain. Thanks, guys. Hey, Judy and Bob. How are you? Tasha, she's still awake. Yes, definitely helpful. I hope you can get to sleep, Tasha. Tasha's in the UK. It's probably about 3 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts. Always good stuff, even with a toothache. Thank you, Helen. Great tips. Thanks, Helen. All the best with the dentist. Thank you, guys. It is the weekend, so whatever the weekend has in store for you, enjoy. Make sure you balance, this whole social media thing with, obviously, your human life and your loved ones and all the rest of it. It is a difficult balancing act sometimes, but make sure you have some downtime on the weekend. And I will really look forward to seeing you guys next week. Just remember, if you want all the replays of the amazing boot camp we had this week, that's one of the links above, and the link to the free video challenge is also up above. So have a great weekend, guys, and I will catch you next week. Bye.